You know that saying, life is short? Hey, by the way, don't look at my cold sore. It's funny we call them cold sores. They're fucking herpes. We all have herpes, okay? Don't call them cold sores or fever blisters, or you don't have to soften it. Just accept it. You got herpes. You got that shit in high school. We all have it. This comes out like once every 2 or 3 years, and didn't think I would see it on video, but here it is right there. All right. Okay. I used to believe that life wasn't short. I used to believe that life was long, you know? I used to always want life to go faster until recently I heard this on a podcast. Hey, look, my eyes are up here. Stop looking at my herpy lip. I used to think that life was long until this recent interview podcast. I forgot where it was, but this guy said that life is a good 8 decade runs. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, 8 decade runs, and that's if you're healthy, you know? And I thought, well, the first 2 decade runs, the first 20 years of your life, you're just experimenting, you're just a wobbly infant, you're just trying to find a sense of self, you are exploring, you don't really know who you are, right? And so I would say life is more about 6 good decade runs. And I don't know how old you are, but for me, since I'm in my 40s, it's more like 4, right? Now, think about this. It's 2021. What were you doing in 2011? Does that seem far away? Does that seem like a long time ago? For me, man, it feels like yesterday. And so I only have about 4 more laps of that. Now life is very short. There's a ticking clock. One of the things I talk about a lot is moving your life chips, right? Putting weight on different things. I think we could get into the pattern of holding on to sitting at the table of life and not moving anything and just like grinding and holding on to these old blueprints that we try to trace that are no longer honest to us. And so I think one thing that we should do once in a while is to move our life chips around, right? What really matters to you today? You know, I know for me, having a 14-month-old, a year and 4 months ago, my life completely changed, and I had different priorities. You know, I mean, when you become a parent, things change overnight, and so I put weight on different things today, right? And of course, Logan is just one part of my life, but as we change, we should start to put weight on different things. You know, what's important to you today is probably something that's different than what was important to you, you know, say in your 20s, 30s, or, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I think that's normal because as we change, because we're not stagnant creatures, we're evolving and growing. And as we change, what matters to us should change. So one way to kind of shake that life etch a sketch and give yourself a quick reboot is to sit with yourself and, you know, really think about this. What matters to you today? What's important to you? Who's important to you? The people that are important to you don't have to be the same people that were important to you last year, you know? So you got to be really honest, right? And I would say it's not just about wanting to be great. We all want to be great. We all want to build things and make a dent, of course. I like the question, how do you want to live, right? What do you want to experience before you die? Like, to me, that's less pressure instead of like, you know, the scoreboard and trying to achieve and all of that. I think all of that is just ingrained in us because of the commercials, the world that we live in, and how just it's capitalism, right? So that's already in us. We are ambitious. We want to build things, and that's great. What we forget sometimes is to pull back, look at life, and ask ourselves, how do we want to live these 4, 5, 6 laps? You know, these decade runs, because they're going to go by whether you like it or not, whether you change or not. Time is going to keep going. Ask yourself what matters to you today. Put action behind that, and your life will change. You know, hopefully the things that matter to you today, the people that matter to you today, they're not the same, you know, and it's okay. The other thing is this. I think we carry a lot, and I think it's time to start letting go. And maybe it starts with forgiveness. Maybe if you're carrying anger, resentment, maybe it's time to forgive, whatever that looks like to you. Maybe it's time to start the process of forgiving yourself for things you've done, or putting so much pressure on yourself because you're not where you're at, or you don't have what you have, or you thought you'd be in a different place, to let all that go and to start with what matters to you today. What kind of life do you want to live? Because life is short, One of the things that I really consciously try to focus on these days is the little things, right? Let me give you an example real quick. Here's some little things that are big. I'm traveling right now, so I was just in New York, and I appreciate bigger spaces, living spaces, because in New York, apartments are tiny. But at the same time, in New York, the energy of the city, man, that sitting in that, absorbing it, eating out and eating slices, and that's all life, right? Those are all things that if you don't pay attention to, can just be the day-to-day, and there's so much nectar there, right? So much joy. High thread count, water pressure, strong water pressure, Q-tips, where when you stick the Q-tip in your ear, that shit doesn't bend, right? No generic Q-tips. Life is too short. Get Q-tips, the brand. It might be a little more expensive, but a strong Q-tip after a shower feels amazing. 2-ply toilet paper, all right? Don't wipe your ass with tracing paper. I don't know who did it, but we accidentally bought a giant Costco size thing of toilet paper, and it's like 1-ply cheap. And so now we're wiping our ass with this tracing paper, and life is too short for that shit. And I don't want to be wasteful, so we have to go through it. I think we're halfway done. What else? Moments with people you care about, because we're always thinking about emails, and I'm so guilty of this, emails and what we need to get done. Getting very present in conversation, notice your energy, make eye contact, say hello to people. All these things, and yet we don't do any of them, or we forget to. And to me, living, or how I want to live my life, I got to remind myself to go back to the basics, go back to things that make me happy, that I have, that I'm able to do, instead of just waiting and wanting things that are not in my life. I have a horrible habit of doing that. I have for most of my life, and I'm 48 and I'm still doing that shit, And so to really smell the roses, take in the air, seek nectar, love hard, all the shit that I've been saying for the last 10 years that I have trouble with myself, forgive people, forgive often. And life is short. So ask yourself what's important to you. Ask yourself how you want to live. Start doing that, because I don't know about you. I've got about 4 good decade runs, and I want to make the best of them.